All right, go for it.
Good morning, everyone. It's V, the Guerrilla Economist, coming to you live with my main man, CJ. We're bringing you the news, the views, and all the information important to you. Check us out, roguemoney.net. Follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money, Rogue Money on Gab, Rogue Money on DTube, Steam, and every single podcasting app known to humanity. We are there. We are there. We are there. And with that being said, check out the cryptoschool.io, the cryptoschool.io. You can, in fact, join the Crypto School Telegram so you can see exactly the results that people are getting. We are completely open over at the Crypto School, and we're showing you the ins and outs, especially on the trading side. And if you're a newbie to cryptos, we have a introductory curriculum that you can go through. It's a one-time payment of $297 for an entire lifetime worth of membership, and that's for the curriculum. And then the trading room, folks, the trading room is about $300 a month. It is far, far cheaper than anywhere else. And people always say, how do I pay for it? How do I pay for it? You pay for it with your profits from the Crypto School. You pay for it with the profits you earn by watching Z and Cowboy trade. And the best part is there's so many people who have paid like their month's membership in like a day or two. There are people who have paid for an entire year in a matter of 2 to 3 days. So there is a lot of benefits in joining the trade room. These guys are slaughtering it. It's amazing. It's free money. You're spending a little bit to make a lot. So take advantage of it. Thecryptoschool.io. Thecryptoschool.io. With that out of the way, Siege, what's going on, brother?
Hey, V, good morning. Happy Monday morning. How was your weekend?
Oh, it's good, man. I'm still trying to wake up. I'm on this is my third cup of coffee, trying to get it going, bro.
Yeah, I've had two. It's a busy day. Had a good weekend. It was finally time to break out the mower, mow the yard. Look, there's lots of dandelions, all that kind of good stuff, and yeah, so it was a good weekend. I went to go check out the new Avengers movie. It was
same here. Oh, it was awesome. Loved it.
It was awesome. The only thing is I took the kids because it sold out so fast. I went to the 10:30 show on Saturday night, and my gosh, we didn't get home till like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it was like 2 hours and 29 minutes, man. It was like 2.5 hours.
Closer to 3. Yeah, it was with the advertisements and everything, but probably the best Avengers movie put together. It's great to do those. You got to do those things to to debrief, shut down for a little bit, just go relax, have a good time with the family.
Did you sit all the way to the end for the credits?
Yeah, I did. Did you see the? Yeah,
I didn't because my kids were getting restless. But
I can't tell you.
I know. I saw. I'm hearing rumors. Captain Marvel. Oh my God, it's going to be epic.
Yep, distress signal was sent. Yes,
that's going to be awesome. That's going to be spectacular.
And for those of you who haven't seen, I think I just ruined it for everyone.
Sorry. Folks, if you think about watching the Avengers Infinity War, go for it. I mean, I have the freaking original comic books, Avengers Infinity War. Amazing. My God. Did you see the preview for Tom Hardy's new movie, Venom?
No.
Dude, he's playing Venom.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Tom Hardy's one of my favorite actors.
Nice.
If you don't know who Tom Hardy is, go watch Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises, and he's the one who plays Bane. So tell me, CJ, do you feel like watching a movie about a man in a spider suit?
I sure do.
Yeah. So that's going to be great. A lot of great movies coming out. A lot of good superhero movies. You know what? I always make fun of it. I poop. Not another superhero movie. And you watch it, it's just fun. So, I mean, there's enough crap and stress going on in life. You just want to have fun sometimes,
Yeah, and they have this really great theater. Where I live, it's called, and I know there's several throughout the country called Flicks Brewhouse, and they do it right. You got a full tray that you can slide to you, leather reclining seats. The food is good. You can have a beer. My wife gets a cold glass of wine. So yeah, so it's a lot of fun. The kids love it. I didn't let the kids eat dinner till that time, but oh well, yeah. So it was a lot of fun, and I hope our fans had a great weekend as well, V.
That's great, man. Yeah, absolutely. I hope everybody had a great weekend. With that being said, Siege, we got a big weekend over at the Rogue Money flagship site.
Yeah, if you have not done so yet, the Rogue Money contributors were just on fire this weekend, putting up tons of great articles. this weekend, James released his SITREP 51, just the escalation of what transpired with Israel. And I know that we're going to delve into it a little bit. And I think London Paul wants to, contribute to that conversation as well. And then also we released Ken's interview with Rory over the Daily Coin. And we're going to be getting Ken on as well to discuss his new book that he just released, V. And then we can't forget about Bankster Slayer. She had a couple that go out. Did Andrew McCabe set a rat trap for Senator Black? And then also she delves into the CERN and the AI Pandora's box. RogueMoney.net. Check them out.
Absolutely. And with that being said, my man, let's get into this, bro. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. Israel, the deep state in Israel is at it again. Kind of like what Dubby kind of mentioned this. He's like, the Russians and the U.S. look like we're going to be marching to war. Then the last second, we're going to kind of pull back, shake hands, and watch the rest of these characters pretty much just fight it out to oblivion. It looks like Syria strike destroyed 200 missiles, killed 11 Iranians. Source in pro-Assad alliance says. Now this is from Haaretz, so I take this with a grain of salt. I would take this with a large piece of kosher salt. Okay, large piece here. But strikes likely targeted surface missiles Iran seeks to deploy in Syria. Targets include the 47th Brigade base and military facility in Hama and a facility north of Aleppo. Israel Security Cabinet convenes. The Syrian army said enemy rockets struck military bases belonging to the Syrian president Bashar al-Assad's regime, the Syrian state TV reported. An official from the regional alliance, including Iran, Hezbollah, and Syria, said Monday that the strikes killed 16 people, among them 11 Iranians, according to the New York Times. The report said that the bombardment also destroyed 200 missiles. The official spoke on the condition of anonymity and that he was permitted to speak to the press. A report on the Syrian newspaper Facebook page attributed the attacks to the U.S., Britain. Media outlets affiliated with the Syrian opposition claimed 38 government soldiers were killed in the strike in Hama and an additional 57 wounded. According to several Syrian media outlets, the strikes targeted 47th Brigade, blah, 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 blah. A war monitor of the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights also said Sunday's attack has targeted a warehouse for missiles and killed 26 people there, mostly Iranians and Iraqis. Like, what the hell's going on here, man? Iran's Tasnim news agency, quoting a unnamed source, denied reports of rockets hitting an Iranian military base, killing Iranian advisors. Sources in Syria report explosions in military bases in the districts of Hama and Aleppo on Sunday night. Israel's Security Cabinet is convening on Monday following the airstrikes, and the session was unscheduled, the ministers were told. So here it is. Okay, it goes on and on and on, and missile strike here at this depot, and then there was 400 dead there, and this, that, and the other. The deal is, folks, is this. Okay, the deal is this. Netanyahu, I've said it many times. Netanyahu is a person. Not only is he demented, not only is he criminally insane. Now, there are people who think that he's a charming man, but you got to understand he's a sycophant. He's power hungry. He's craven like most politicians, and they seek power. That is the problem of the modern Western age that we live in. Politicians seek personal power. They're craven to it, absolutely craven. They're mad. And now this madman, Netanyahu, who's literally gone nuts in Yahoo, he is out there working in cohesion with U.S. as well as British deep staters, trying to foment war, trying to put and create a greater regional conflagration. They're getting their licks in, so to speak. They're getting their licks in. Because we do know that there's more and more Russian S-300 and S-400 missile batteries that will be arriving very shortly in the Syrian airspace. And once those things turn on, you're going to have pretty much a real Iron Dome situation over the skies of Syria, which will stop the pesky deep staters from launching their air attacks. I will tell you right now, these guys, the fact that the U.S. is extremely quiet nowadays, it's very, very telling. These guys have come to the end of their rope. There's nothing else left for them to do. They've lost. So this is their kind of like the death rattles of a dying jackal. That's what this whole thing is about. It's the death rattles of a dying system. That's all they're left to do. And folks, it's going to look like war. Believe me, it's going to look like it's going to get worse before it gets a lot better. But it is getting a lot better. But, that's just the way things are playing out in the Middle East. Siege, what's your take, man?
Yeah, it's one of those $1 million questions that now you have an administration that's, confirmed Mike Pompeo. A lot of the news outlets are reporting that he, in fact, went to Saudi Arabia, was his very first visit, outside of the alleged visit to North Korea. So you have to wonder what that conversation looks like, V. Is it a conversation to bring the Saudis in line in regards to the amount of activities that they have transpired in the Middle East? And then apparently he was heading to Israel. Let's hope that it's not one of those things to green light any type of escalation against Iran. I think that Trump has put out that he will make his decision, on the Iran nuclear deal, I think by May 15th. So is he greenlighting? Is he there assuring the Israelis and the Saudis that, hey, we have your back, we're going to do this. We're going to move forward. We're going to label Iran as an enemy. We're going to escalate things. I don't know. I really don't know what those conversations, look like. But so we're going to have right now, unfortunately, it's just kind of one of those wait and see moments, V. But time will tell.
Yep. Absolutely, man. Time will tell, indeed. Just what I've been saying, brother. This is from dollarcollapse.com. I've been saying this for a while. Gold and silver will sell and may go away? Not exactly. And Steve, why don't you break that down for us real quick?
It's interesting to look at the cycles and I've never realized this in terms of understanding, when the price goes up, the number of months between where gold, silver, precious metals prices will spike. And apparently, there's kind of a cycle to this. And this comes to us from the Dollar Collapse, where they actually assess the price as far as a tradable asset. Supply versus demand fluctuate regularly. You'd think that the resulting arbitrage would attract enough traders to smooth out prices, but that's apparently not the case with gold and silver. And here's analysis from the Casey Research Group on the average gold price trending since 1975. And the Casey Research Group has came out as, many investors, especially the new and precious metals, don't know that gold is seasonal for a variety of reasons, notably including the wedding season in India. The price of gold fluctuates in fairly consistent ways over the course of the year. The pattern is borne out by decades of data and hence has obvious implications for gold investors. Can you guess which is the best month? Yada, yada, yada. We can, bring up the graph that clearly shows the spike B. Typically it begins in August, spikes in September, and goes through the October. And that's primarily the spike in it. So again, trying to understand the markets, what's going to happen. Are things different this time? Are things different this time with the ramp up with China and Russia and the potential demise of the U.S. dollar? Will things be different this time? We'll wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot going on. I think the all the situations happening across the middle, around the world, man, especially the One Belt, One Road, it's really changing the game. There's more pressures right now in the gold market than any time before. I promise you that. From a supply side, especially with sovereigns, okay, there's a huge amount of pressure. let me just take a really quick look at the spot price of gold right now. And I'll tell you right now what the heck is going on. Okay, spot price per ounce right now. The live metal is per ounce about 13.19. Okay, so gold's it's holding strong, holding real strong above that 13.19 handle. And then when you look at that, right? I mean, think about this. If you look, okay, so an ounce of gold is 13.19, but the premiums, okay, are putting the price of, if you want to get an ounce of gold, it's getting closer to that $1,400 per ounce. I think right now the average price of a 1 ounce gold coin, a 1 ouncer, anywhere right now is it's about 13.75, 13.80. Okay, even though the spot is about 13.12, the going rate's about 13.80. So you're seeing that the premiums are getting close to that $1,400. That's for a 1 ounce American Gold Eagle. You know, same thing situation with silver. You know, same thing with situation with silver. Silver, same thing. You know, $16.26 for silver. You want to get a silver coin, you're getting into the 20s. So the premiums are coming up. Now, this is for smaller amounts. Imagine for larger amounts. Imagine for a 2 kilogram bar or a 400 ounce gold bar. And you can see the premiums really get up there. Okay, so physical supply, folks. You know, physical supply. This is why, you know, this is exactly one of the reasons, Siege, also, as a shameless plug, and I'm going to say it, we always advocate at the Crypto School, you get your HODL bag, but go get metals with it. And dude, I totally forgot. To mention this news. Our platform that I've been talking about for the last several days is going to be going live very soon. Like, it could be hours right now at this point. It could be hours away. And when it's ready to launch, I'll do a big show about it. We'll do a big announcement. But this is going to allow you to go from crypto to gold into fiat currencies. You'll have access to 24 different fiat currencies. You'll have access to gold, silver, platinum, palladium, all LBMA, all stored overseas, all in segregated, allocated accounts under your name, all insured and bonded against all loss, theft, and confiscation outside the jurisdiction of any sort of taxing authority. Nobody will be able to touch it, period. And we could liquidate it and wire it into any bank account of your choice. Just give us the info and we'll do it for you. So that platform is launching live. And this is what we've been, you know, this is the real solution. Take your crypto profits, you put it into gold. You want to hodl something, you put it into gold, you put it into silver. That's what we advocate. But yeah, metals are looking for a strong run, Siege, without a doubt.
You know, it's one interesting when you look at historical data, and that's what most analysts do. You know, look at historical data, look at trends. But, you know, like people like Dex has shown us that the algos, and I think people have a far more understanding now, that the metals market for so long has just been so manipulated with these, you know, the paper contracts and everything else. But here recently, within the last 5 years, there's been so much disruptive technology that potentially could bring forth products similar to ours to add a whole new sense of consumer interest in the metals. You know, thinking that they could apply to cryptos. You know, companies like ours. You know, Gold Money. That, you know, their solutions as far as, you know, being able to keep it liquid, being able to store. You know, all these disruptive technologies that are coming aboard, blockchain solutions, and even tokenizations to be backed by the metals. I think that's why I'm thinking this time's a little bit different. You know, I know I always point back, you know, myself to say, well, yeah, but look at the gold confiscation back in, when was that? I can't recall. But you think back to this times, but this time is different, you know, because of those solutions that Rogue is going to be able to provide, where if you need to move across to a different, you know, asset or means of exchange, you have that possibility, where years ago that technology didn't exist. V.
Absolutely right, man. Absolutely right. Years ago, that technology did not exist, man. It's a different world now. It's a completely different game now, brother. Yes, the next thing, Siege. We've been saying this for a while. You know, it's time for us to drop off the military-industrial or the incompetent complex and grow the economy and grow economically. The Japanese have a motto, which is "business is war," and I think here's a perfect example of it. Okay, there's a great article here by Russia Insider. This is by Jacob Dresden. He goes, epic fail, why most U.S. weapon systems are worse than Russia's. Okay. Lately, we have seen some good analysis on the limits and vulnerabilities of American military in light of the events of the former Ukraine, especially Russia's demonstrated competence in Syria. So we have the quote, what of the issue, but how about the why? As a U.S. Army veteran and longtime resident of the Beltway, including a 4.5 years living in the Crystal Drive in Arlington, Virginia, which is probably the densest concentration of quote-unquote defense contractors anywhere in America, I think I understand what is fundamentally wrong with the military-industrial complex. First and foremost, the MIC has long been incapable of producing durable, efficient, versatile weapons. Okay. We don't even have to look at the F-35 on this one. America's latest fighter, which has turned out to be a spectacular failure and a massive $1.5 trillion, basically a loss. It's an expense. It's just a loss. Just consider the most basic item, the M16. The M16 assault rifle, my field experience with this piece of junk is that it runs into problems in the presence of even a small amount of sand. When enough sand gets into the chamber, mixing it with the lube oil on the bolt assembly, the grit thus forms results in up to every second round misloading. It goes on and on and
on. I'm sorry, I laughed. Go ahead.
Dude, it's pretty bad. The M1A1 is another. I mean, who's an idiot? Like, you know, one of the things that I wanted to break down is propaganda, right? You remember World War II, and the image of World War II is you have the American soldiers on the ground, you know, speeding through the European area of conflict. And what tank were they in? They were in the vaunted M4 Shermans. And that was the image you got. These M4s were like the greatest tanks, and there was like a symbol of American industry and American might. And you would think that, you know, we would never allow soldiers to ever get into an inferior piece of equipment to go fight an enemy. But that's exactly what we did. The M4 Sherman was a piece of junk. It was a death trap. It was poorly armored versus its German counterparts. You would need 4 or 5 Shermans to kill one Tiger tank. You'd lose 4 or 5 Shermans in the process of doing it. They were undergunned, they were under-armored, and they burned like you would not believe. They used aviation fuel. They used an airplane propeller engine, gasoline engine. So when the shell hits it, when a German shell hits the tank, it literally goes up like a Roman candle. The same thing with the stupid M1A1 Abrams and the M1A1A2. And people are like, well, the armor is classified. It's a new Chabum composite. It's a top secret. That thing takes a hit from a Kornet missile or an older Russian anti-tank missile, like a Gecko or something. And we're seeing it all over Yemen when these Saudi M1A2s are literally exploding and going up in flames. Why? Because we thought it was a wonderful idea to have a tank that's powered by a jet engine. It's stupid. It's a gas turbine. All right? It's a gas turbine, and it doesn't work. And that's the problem. So you look at that, and you look at the F-35, and see, it's these images that like most Americans that you talk to, they're like, "Hey, man, who won World War II?" Like, yeah, we won the war. If it weren't for us, you'll be a lampshade, and we'll all be goose stepping, and we'll all be speaking German. That's the idea, right, Siege?
Right, absolutely.
You talk to anybody on the street. Who was the country that was instrumental in winning World War II? Oh, it was America. It was the U.S. 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 Oh, yeah, we did. We stormed through Europe. And when I tell people it's not us who won World War II, the reason why we were able to put the finishing touches on the war was because of the simple fact that Hitler made a massive, egregious, and the most stupidest mistake he could ever make. He did the same mistake that Napoleon did. He went eastward, and he thought he could invade Russia. The Russians chewed up the Germans and spit them out. A great loss to themselves, but they literally chewed up the Germans and spit them out. Then the Russians rolled out their tank, their real first main battle tank, called the T-34. It had an independent suspension. It had a sloped armor. These were cutting-edge features. It was a fraction of the cost of the M4 Sherman. It was a faster tank. It was a better equipped tank. It was incredibly reliable. The T-34 Russian tank was so damn good, CJ, that the Germans were making their own derivative of it. They were the Germans who made the best damn tank in the world. Until this day, the best Western tank in the world. If somebody come up to me today and say, V, what's the best tank in the world? Well, I'd say in the Western world, the best damn tank in the world is the Leopard A2. It's the Leopard 2 A26. That's the best damn tank. It's a German tank. The Germans make the best tank, period. Love the Leopard. It's amazing. The Leopard 2 is an amazing tank. But back then, the Germans also made the best damn tanks in the Western world. They have the Tiger, they have the Panther. The two of the best damn tanks ever. And they were so damn impressed with the T-34, they were trying to make a derivative to rival it, because this thing had speed, mobility, and firepower. All of which the American M4 lacked, sans the speed. So the military incompetent complex likes to market to you taxpayers that A, whatever they make is the best in the whole world. B, that whatever they make is the most technologically advanced in the whole world. And C, whatever they make gives their infantrymen or the personnel overwhelming odds for victory. These are the marketing terms. So we entered World War late in the war. We came in on the tail end. How do you come in on the tail end when the majority of the work's already been done and then claim victory? It don't work like that. It don't work like that. It's like, it's like you have a team. It's like a football match. And one team is winning like 34-10. And the kicker comes on, or the backup quarterback comes on. The backup quarterback comes on. He throws a touchdown pass with 10 seconds left, and the score goes to from 34 to like 42, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the backup quarterback is claiming victory for the entire game. You look at the guy like, dude, are you nuts? You were sitting on the bench for most of the game. You're sitting on the bench for damn near 4 quarters. You came out with 5 minutes left to play. You're claiming the entire victory that you carried the team on your shoulders? You think the guy's crazy, right? It's the same thing. You can't enter the war on the tail end. That's why we have the least amount of casualties of anybody. We came in on the tail end. We came in on the end when already Germany was being bludgeoned. They were being lost. They were being bled out. Their supply lines are stretched thin. They had all sorts of logistical nightmares. The Germans didn't worry too much about us because they had a bigger problem in the East. Fast forward to the Korean War. What's his take on the Korean War? Oh, we're going to go there. We're going to whip some ass. MacArthur. You know why they removed MacArthur? They removed MacArthur from command of the Korean War in 1954 when the war ended in July 29th, 1954, when that Korean War ended. The Forgotten War. Why is it forgotten? Because it was a colossal disaster. Why was it a forgotten war? Because the narrative, the story of the quote-unquote vaunted unstoppable American military literally came apart. Literally came apart during the Korean War. That's why it became the Forgotten War. We had to shut that crap down. We were losing so bad that MacArthur wanted to go nuclear. MacArthur wanted to go nuclear. Truman knew at that point, wait, you want to do what? You want to nuke the Chinese, and you do know that if we nuke the Chinese, then the Russians get involved, and we'll have World War III. You do know that. MacArthur became so damn unhinged, he became a liability. This is a guy who was, again, one of the personalities that was celebrated in World War II. One of the guys who helped, restructure and rejigger the entire Japanese economy after we bombed them to oblivion with 2 nuclear bombs. Okay? Each military has their strengths and weaknesses, folks. At that time, we were great at making a nuclear bomb. We made some pretty damn awesome battleships. I'll give you that. My God, the Wisconsin class, the USS New Jersey, the USS Wisconsin, amazing battleships, amazing carriers. I mean, we had the best Navy in the world, bar none. World War II, best Navy. Navy's the best there was. Best Marines too, the best amphibious assault, definitely in the entire world, no doubt. But fast forward to the Korean War, what happened? Well, why did it get so bad? It got so bad because when the North invaded the South and pushed them all the way to Busan, which is in the southern port of South Korea, the Marines came in, quote unquote, under the UN flag, and the American military came in and reinforced them. And they were able to push back the North, and we took Pyongyang, and we pushed them all the way to the what the hell is the name of that river? The Yalu River. That's on the border between North Korea and China. We pushed them all the way to that. And then the North Koreans, they're up against the border of China, the North Korean communists. And then the Chinese came forward and said, "Oh, wait a minute, you got way too many U.S. troops on our border. We don't like it." And the Chinese forces, which this time are more organized, they've gotten over their loss and their conflict with the Japanese. The Japanese have been in war with China for several years before even World War II officially started. So now the Chinese are healed for that. They licked their wounds. They come in. They literally recaptured their entire lost territory, pushed us all the way back down past the 38th parallel, was pretty much the CO is about to fall again, and then we pushed back up, and there was pretty much a stalemate. What they've done is they cut our pincer maneuver in half. They cut off our supply lines and pretty much surrounded us. We had to call in more reinforcements. It was a disaster, and it was going really bad. It was a stalemate. And at that point, they removed MacArthur, got him out of there, cooler heads prevailed, and we were able to sign an armistice that lasted up until the time that President Trump was able to get the 2 Koreas to negotiate a peace treaty. That's what happened. That's what happened. But you talk to the average person on the street, "Oh, we fought and we killed, and then we did the whole peace armistice because we were winning." Right? I mean, that's what winners do, right? They win and they decide to quit halfway through the game and say, "Hey, we won," when they walk off the field. That's what winners do, right, Siege?
Right, absolutely, yeah.
That's what we did. The reason why I'm saying this, I need to break through some of your programming. You guys are believing. There's a lot of you that listen to this. You don't know this. You don't know this. That's why you want to see, if you know stories like this, if you know facts like this and history like this, you will be more reluctant to go to war. But the military incompetent complex doesn't want you to believe that. They want you to believe that, A, whatever they make is the best in the world, whatever they make is the most technologically advanced in the world, and whatever they give out to their soldiers is going to make them win with overwhelming odds, all of which are fake, all of which are not true. So that was a disaster, the Korean War. The forgotten war. Why was it forgotten? Because it was terrible. It was a logistical nightmare. It was bad. We got into a slog. Fast forward 20 years. And the Dulles brothers, fast forward 20 years, the Dulles brothers ensured that we wound up back in the 38th parallel, this time again in Vietnam. And here we are in Vietnam, a disaster of a war. Cannot win the ground. And it's funny. You talk to the military guys that, we didn't have the political will to win. The military guys blame the politicians. And the quote-unquote patriots among us will say, we'll side with the military without knowing all the facts. Then the politicians will blame the military guys. What the hell was happening? oh, we didn't have the rules of engagement were different. We were not allowed to bam Hanoi. We're not allowed to do this and that. Yeah, because politically we were in what's supposed to have been a very limited, contained conflict in order to prevent the fall of the democratic forces or the non-communist forces that were in Vietnam, the forces of Chiang Kai-shek. Okay, we were fighting to ensure that he and his cohorts, the democratic forces that are in South Vietnam, stay in power. Fighting for that. That's what we want to do. We didn't want a further escalation. Folks, you got to remember, this is the height of the Cold War. The Cold War was really hot. At any moment, there could have been a nuclear tripwire and it would have been mutually assured destruction. Politically, we didn't want, okay, this is why it's important to have statesmen and generals. One checks the other, especially a statesman. Because if you have a good statesman, it's going to ensure that the generals don't get so damn out of control that they're so big and hubris, they want to prove themselves and prove their men and prove their metal and prove their equipment, that they literally want to go to the absolute threshold of annihilation. Don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. So we fought in these, quote unquote, yes, they were limited rules of engagement. Why? Because we didn't want another rehash of what happened in Korea. We didn't want this time not only the Chinese joining the North Vietnamese, but the Russians as well, which they did with some quote-unquote operators and quote-unquote contractors, quote-unquote advisors that were in the field. We didn't want that spilling out into a bigger thing. We had to leave it in a stalemate. So we got gut-checked again. That's twice now. That's twice now since our vaunted narrative and filled victory of World War II. It's twice. Okay? What's going on today? Well, today it's kind of like the same thing. You have two technologically equal peers that we're facing off of. And what are we doing? Well, our military incompetent complex is they are failing at a massive scale. They're making crap equipment. They're convincing you to buy crap equipment. They're advising and telling you guys that, hey, you know what? This crap we're making is the best crap in the world. It's overpowering crap. It's the kind of crap that dominates the battlefield, but it's crap. This article goes on to say, it's clear now that the military-industrial complex, the MIC, cannot build anything for less than 200% of its original planned budget. And that's being extremely conservative. So you understand, folks, the military-industrial complex is not here to win wars. They're not here to make effective fighting equipment. They're not here to ensure that the soldier on the battlefield has overwhelming odds to win. The military-industrial complex, I've been saying for some time, just like any other body, any other bureaucracy, folks, their mission is to extract as much wealth as possible. They are a wealth extraction scheme. They are a drain on our economy. So the whole notion of we need a defense spending to create a surge in the economy to get the boat moving is BS. It's BS. Statistically, it's never worked. Historically, it's never worked. It never does work. I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. Besides the never-ending supersonic train wreck, that's a great way of putting it, the supersonic train wreck known as the F-35, we have other boondoggle failures. How about that stupid stealth ship? What a joke. It's a stealth ship. Nobody can see it. The friggin' thing is like, it has a beam that's like 70 feet off the water. You can see, it's a friggin' huge boat. How you not see it? But they'll tell you, it's invisible. I see it perfectly. Radar can't find it. That thing has a radar profile of a stadium. Nobody could see it. This is the marketing term. They give you marketing terms. Let me give you folks some of the marketing terms. Stealth. No such thing as stealth. That is a marketing term. Nothing is, quote unquote, invisible to radar. That's a fact. And if you think there is such thing as stealth and things are invisible to radar, you are a child, mentally speaking. You're a child. Second, they like to use fancy terms. The F-35 is a fifth-generation aircraft. That is a marketing term. This fifth-generation aircraft just last week, CJ, lost against a fourth-generation aircraft known as the F-15. Lost it. The F-15 smoked that thing in a dogfight. And the only time the F-22s win against the F-15s, oh, yeah, we had one F-22 versus 8 F-15s, and the F-22 shot them all down. Because it's in a controlled environment where these idiots are giving predetermined rules. You have to fly this range at this time. You got to have the radars on, and then the F-22 is over here. It's going to run by AWACS, and you can't see it. And it's these specific laid out rules that favor the F-22 to win. They don't. The Eagles are hamstrung. The F-22s are completely have total informational awareness of what's going on in the battle space, and then they put out this fake exercise beyond visual range. They never dogfight the damn thing. Every time they take the F-22, not even the F-35, but the F-22 siege, they take it to Red Flag in Alaska. German Typhoons. It is a known fact. Look it up yourself. German Typhoons have shot down F-22s repeatedly. Okay? Repeatedly. So, this is the problem with the military-industrial complex. Over budget, behind schedule, and failing. Because the goal is not to build anything that's useful. And who cares? Let's make a $600 billion piece of crap as long as we're going to go find some third world countries and backwater woods somewhere. That's how we're winning these days. We have a stupid aircraft carrier that can't launch airplanes, CJ. Did you know that?
Yep.
Our new aircraft carrier called the USS what the hell is it called? The USS Gerald Ford, the new aircraft carrier, right? It can't launch airplanes. It has electrical. Everything is computerized. No more hydraulics. It doesn't have hydraulics. It has computerized lifts. So one time the carrier in the sea trial shuts down. What are they gonna do? They got to reboot the system. Like, what is this? An iPad?
Well, you hit the pause play. You hit the pause on.
Yeah, man.
Hit the pause play. Say, give us 3 minutes. We need to restart.
And the greatest point is this: the military-industrial complex worked great during World War II because there were less bureaucrats, less people, and less money involved. That's why the Russians don't need a $800 billion military. Where's that money going? I mean, is a toilet seat in a military aircraft worth $300 just for a toilet seat? It's the most ridiculous thing in the world, Siege. And that's why until we correct that, which I hope we do, it is what it is. Last but not least, man, once you break this down, I think this is a good story as well. Apple paying back investors for terrible, pathetic, lukewarm, tepid iPhone sales. Go ahead, Siege.
Right. Well, yes. Whenever iPhone, Apple announced the release of 2 new phones coming out, I believe this was fall of last year, maybe even summer. Not sure why, but they announced that they have 2 new phones coming online. And to any consumer out there, it's like, why don't I just wait till the newer ones are released? But apparently, Apple, being the multi-billion-dollar company that they are, they couldn't figure this out, V. And so now they're wondering why their new iPhone X sales are staggering. There's no sales there. They're at the point now where they're actually considering a stock purchase program and an actual investor payback, if you will, of over $400 billion. They're estimating anywhere between $300 and $400 billion to offset the iPhone's disappointing sale. Now, one thing I want to say, because this is a big week for earnings calls for companies, and I think what you're going to see is specifically is I think whenever companies usually announce they miss earnings, usually you'll see the stocks, taper back, cut back a little bit. But because of the tax cuts that were passed, I think what we're going to see is a lot of other companies do this exact same thing, where they take that fall-in profit that they got from the tax cuts that they received and use it to get creative on situations like this to prop up their stock price. It's one of those things that, I know there was reported there when the tax cuts were first passed that there's, hundreds $1,000 bonuses getting, paid out to the employees, which is great. I think on average, only 2 or 3% companies did that. But what we're going to see is the majority of that money, instead of using to, for infrastructure, buy new facilities, new products, new companies, they're going to use it specifically again to prop up their stock price. And Apple is an exact point, great point of that happening.
Yep. I think we're going to see a lot of unraveling of companies like Apple. Think about it. When Steve Jobs was around, not only did he pushed the ecosystem between the phone, the iPad, and the MacBooks. Now they're ignoring the computers, they're ignoring the MacBooks and whatnot. They're putting all their eggs in one basket with iOS, with the iPhone. They thought it was a brilliant idea to have $1,000 iPhone. Okay, $1,200 for the top end model plus tax, and it's backfired on them tremendously. They've sold a tepid amount. It was like 33 million. That was a joke. There's a company that's used to selling 65, 70 million iPhones. They sold 33 million. It's a joke. An absolute joke. It's a disaster. So let's see what these one-trick ponies like Apple and Tesla and Amazon. Oh, God. All these companies that I just mentioned, folks, it's only a matter of time before they're brought down to earth. There's no doubt about that. With that being said, Siege, we're over and out, folks. Stay tuned. We'll be going live with London Paul in just a few minutes. And with that being said, we're over and out. Take it away, Uncle Go.